Everyone get out!
Greetings, programs! Time for more Crusader Kings 2. Now, I did have to start a new game. I tried recording with what happened last time, but basically I was in such a weak position that I just kept getting beaten up and having my title revoked, and that was it, game over. Which is what happens when you're a lonely count and the king decides to pick on you over and over again. So, it's Scotland again. It's 1066, and this time it's a slightly more sensible character. The Jedis of House McJedi have risen to the throne again. They've renounced the Aztec faith and become Catholics. And yeah, hopefully this time it will go slightly better. Now, I don't know why my heir is. Oh yeah, because the I created a custom character. The person who was king actually is still a character in my court, which is kind of funny. But it means that yeah, I need to produce some sprogs. So hopefully that will happen, because last time I died without heirs and that was no good. So let's pick an ambition, and we'll pick one to improve, I think, the stewardship trait, because that's quite useful. That will make me some more money. I can apparently create a title, but I don't have enough cash for that. Title loss, well, that's because I don't have any heirs. And apparently, the Earl of Northumberland might inherit Teviotdale, which would be kind of annoying. So let's hope he actually gets married and produces some heirs. He's still fairly young though, so that should be, you know, there's a good chance that'll happen. I can also press a de jure ducal claim, because that is considered part of the well, part of the Duchy of Moray. So I can basically go to war with Norway if I want to and claim that, and then he would actually get that. So yeah, I'm again in the position of I've only got one actual direct holding, so I could actually do with a couple more as well. Now, the Western Isles, the Lordship of the Isles, as it would become, it still sort of exists. Well, it does exist, but it's not really the Lordship of the Isles at this point. It's still a Norse duchy, effectively. It says king, but it's a petty kingdom which is on a par with a duchy. He's actually got a bunch of Scottish vassals, Scottish cultural vassals, but he's a Norwegian ruler. So he actually should be not that difficult to beat. So here we go. I can interesting, that would cost me a lot of gold. 20% chance of gain 1 learning. I don't think that's terribly useful under the circumstances. We'll set my council doing things, because that's something I didn't really do last time. Train troops, that'll be quite useful. Collect taxes. Now these can all have good effects, but also they can have bad effects. So you'll see there's a 8% chance yearly that I will get a special bonus, and just being there's a passive effect on the income. But there's also a chance that he'll get attacked and wounded, or maybe even killed, in which case I'll need a new steward. And if you've got a really steward or whoever with really good stats, that can be quite annoying. I will I guess research cultural tech, and I think we'll fabricate a claim there, because they've only got one province and I don't think they're particularly strong at this point. However, he does have, through marriage, because his sister is a Norwegian princess, he has through marriage he's allies with King of Norway and 2 of the Dukes of Norway as well. So that could bring Norway into the war. Norway at the moment is tied up attacking England, but that yeah, I might need to move sooner rather than later. But oh, here we go. Elective monarchy. Now, elective monarchy is basically you end up with your vassals are able to elect or nominate a successor, and it can be from one of your heirs, but it can also be from amongst themselves. So it can be tricky. It can be very tricky. If you've got an heir that's successful and popular, then that's fine. But keeping it going, it's like trying to make sure that you've got elections rigged in your favour. But if I don't, he will potentially take up arms against me, and my military situation is a bit dicey at the moment. I don't have that many troops. My vassals are... they will provide me with some, but once he breaks away, that number will actually drop down, so he potentially might have more troops than I do. Well, at the moment we are primogeniture, so it's my children when I have children. But yeah, no, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, suck it, Duke of Moray. Bring it. Do your worst, and then it'll go horribly wrong, probably. So, is it actually going to declare a war? Yes. Here we go. Okay. So, if I raise my personal levies, if I raise all my vassals, pretty sure I can take him. But the trick is not letting his army pick off my smaller armies. You've got to consolidate fairly quickly in these kind of situations. So we're just waiting for them to all march into Gary, and then we can consolidate them and then move on Moray. So here we go. I should be able to take them. But we'll actually wait till my army morale is at its peak, because that can have a big difference. Now, why are they looking like... oh, I see, they're moving their the King of Norway called them into the war against England, so they're moving their troops down too. That's not something I have to be worried about, fortunately. Right, so... oh, for goodness sake. No. Wow, this is all going to pot. Let's take care of that army first. Yeah, okay. Athol. Well, fortunately for me, he's just one county. Let's get him out the way with first. Well, that might be a huge tactical error on my part, but hopefully... oh, for goodness sake. Hopefully it won't be. Sometimes, I mean, this can happen. You can have a cascade. It'll be going absolutely fine for years and years, and then somebody will declare a rebellion or something, or you'll get invaded by somebody, and somebody else will take advantage of that. The AI is really sneaky. It'll take advantage of the fact that you're distracted doing something else, and then also, you know, they'll make demands or they'll launch a war or whatever. So you have to watch out for that. It can be quite tricky. It can get quite hectic sometimes. So this siege might take a while. We'll skip ahead a bit here, and I'll come back in if anything of note happens. Okay, so here we go. Something has happened. We have basically taken one of the holdings. We've taken the county holding. You don't completely control the county until you've taken all of the holdings in that county, but yeah, he seems prepared to surrender, so we'll take that. He gets put in prison for the meantime, and I get to go and attack these other pesky troops who are currently sieging Buchan. So we will hopefully this battle goes okay, fingers crossed. Also fighting going on there, but that's the Norwegians and the English. I wonder how that war's going. There's no way of directly telling how an opponent's war, well, a neighbour's war is going, unless you're directly participating in the war and can see this thing. There might be something in the ledger, actually. But there's this, where are we? The ledger. It tells you a whole bunch of information about basically everything. Oh, here's the war screen. Okay, here we go. Norwegian invasion of England is going terribly, apparently, as is the Norman Conquest. So you can actually see, but you have to go into the ledger. And normally I'm lazy and I don't do that. So you can actually see all the wars that are going on in the world at this point. There's mine. Scottish Civil War for elective monarchy. So I think we've just about beat these guys. The combat system, we didn't really properly look at that there, but there's basically 3 wings of troops. Oh, okay, character event. Justice should always prevail. Just is a useful character trait, so you usually want that. +2 stewardship, +1 learning, and oh, I see. There we go. I'm up to stewardship 8 now, so I can pick another ambition. Let's try increasing my marshal. That would be quite useful. Because your king will... there's always a risk when you're leading troops yourself that you'll actually be killed in battle, and that's bad, especially if you don't have any air. So it's actually quite risky me leading troops into battle myself, especially when I've got... let's put a different person in that's got a much better martial score. Because the martial score of the person leading the troops actually has a heavy influence on how well they fight. Now we're just sieging again at this point. We've basically won this, although it's still we still have to siege these guys and force them to a peace. But yeah, we have basically won at this point. So we'll skip ahead again. And once the piece is in sight, we'll come back to it. Well, we've hit 100% war score, so it's they're making an offer. Now, I can actually potentially make my own offer. Well, not so much. Okay. Basically, yeah, okay. You can either accept or decline, so it doesn't really make a difference if you take the offer yourself. Now, I have several options at this point. He's been imprisoned, and what might well happen is, well, I have choices. I can either just leave him in prison, in which case when he dies, his heir, which is in this case that lady there, will inherit, which is actually what happened with Athol. Malcolm Dunkeld, former King of Scotland, who would have been king, he actually inherited Athol. And what I was sort of planning to do is actually, because what you can do, what one of the options is for someone who is in prison, is you can either just release them, which all your vassals will think is a very merciful action. You can execute them, which lowers your vassal opinion and also costs piety. You can banish them, which gives you a big hit with vassal opinion, but you can basically seize all their lands and titles. Or you can ransom them and basically let them buy their own freedom. I want to increase my holdings. I feel kind of vulnerable at the moment, so I'm actually thinking I'm going to banish the guy from my realm. And I will take a big hit with vassal opinion, but my vassals actually relatively like me, so I can afford to take the hit. I think it's worth the risk in this particular case. So we're going to banish the guy. You can also do things like transfer their vassalage to another ruler, or transfer one of your vassals into their under their title. So I could give him some counties, for instance. But in this case, I'm going to banish him from the realm. It's going to be a big hit to my reputation with the rest of... and you can see there he's actually in somebody else's court now. It's not going to help my vassals' opinion at all. Some of them have plummeted, but some of them actually have remained quite high. So the Duke of Lothian is my only other ducal vassal, so as long as we keep him sweet. I think I've already given him some kind of honorary title, but yeah, so these are now my direct holdings, and I can actually, I can give them to somebody else, or I can just hold on to them myself, because I'm still below my limit. And I think I will hold on to them myself, because it increases my my income, it increases the amount of troops that I can directly raise. So all in all, it seems like a good thing. And I will also invest some of that money in, I think we'll make my county, my principal county, a bit stronger. We'll invest in fortifications there. So The other thing that has popped up in the meantime is I actually now have a claim on, as you can see there, I've got a claim on the Western Isles. Now, the situation in England is a bit interesting. They are having a bit of a civil war, it looks like. They actually did defend themselves successfully against the Normans and the Norwegians, but they've got problems of their own, it looks like. So it still remains Harold, who's now Harold the Great, apparently. But who knows, he might get deposed by his own countrymen after having survived 2 invasions. So we'll just check my manpower before I do anything else. I think we probably want to let the manpower pool go up a bit before I actually tackle these guys, because Norway is going to come in on the picture. And a couple of other people as well, but I think these are all Norwegians, apart from the Earl of Desmond, which is... Yeah, Ireland, when you start off, in this start date anyway, it's basically largely a collection of separate counties, although the Petty King of Munster has got 2, but I might well try and take Ulster, because there's actually quite a strong historical connection between the west coast of Scotland and Ulster. So it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that, you know, well, actually it is a bit silly, but I'll do it anyway at some point, and it's a way of increasing my land holdings, increasing my vassal numbers. The best way to do it will be to basically take the titles from these guys, and it's a trickier process if you have to strip the titles from people. They don't necessarily like it very much, and it hurts the rest of your vassal opinion, but you can then put your own guys in, and you can make sure that they are of the same cultural group as you. So I'd put some Scottish nobles in place of these Irish nobles, and that would not at all be repeating history, but within the game terms, it means they're much less likely to rebel against you, and they'll have a generally better opinion of you. They won't consider you to be a foreigner, basically. So we'll wait for troop numbers to increase. Like I said, I've actually got my marshal there training troops, which will make it faster, hopefully. And we'll come back and invade the Western Isles, and then I think at that point we'll probably wrap up this video. And this is all going a bit better than it was last time, but I've maybe made it a little bit less challenging for myself. It's a pity I couldn't go on with the Aztec guy. I had plans that I would I would start intrigues and plotting, but no, the king just took the title off me every time, and that was it, game over. So yeah, it was a little bit too challenging. So yeah, let's skip ahead some more. Well, here's a little bit of a turn up for the books. My former wife died of I think it was typhus, something like that. Because characters can, if there's an outbreak of disease, characters can actually catch the disease. So I've gone and married a daughter of the Byzantine emperor. So my ally is, yeah, I am now allies with the the Byzantine emperor and one of the dukes, and also a count apparently, or a countess rather. So yeah, yeah, that's yeah, that's totally historical, right? Scotland was allied with the Byzantines. That's a thing that happened. Yeah, that's why I like this game, because you can just do silly things like that. So, skipping on again, that's just a funny thing that happened I thought I'd point out. Well, I think it might be time, you guys. An interesting thing has just happened. You can see there, this particular count, who is both Count of Galloway and the Isle of Man, has actually, or well, Earl, because he's Scottish, he's actually broken away. So, I think now is the time to strike. We'll wait till his main body of troops are down there, and then I'll march my troops into his home county, the Western Isles, and we'll see what happens from there. I also had an event. I went on a pilgrimage. Oh, that's good. Some airs will be useful. I went on a pilgrimage to... oh, apparently my father-in-law is no longer the Byzantine emperor. He's been deposed, apparently. But yeah, I went on a pilgrimage to Rome, and so I now have this trait, which is quite useful, 10.1 piety per month, so it's 1.2 piety per year, which is not that much, but you know, it adds towards it. That's piety is quite useful. And I also have the scholar trait now, which has given me 10 learning, and that actually helps with technology spread throughout your kingdom, so that's quite a useful one. I've not really talked about technology so far, but it's a bit hands-off. You don't really have to do that much in terms of technology. It will naturally spread itself. You can encourage it through the use of your counselors, but you can also, at various points, you'll accumulate enough research points or technology points to actually directly invest in the different. You can choose if there's something that you particularly want to get ahead in, but it will just kind of naturally spread itself. So he's moving his troops down. The Galloway armies are, looks like they're marching towards the west now, so I should probably make my declaration of war now. I can actually recall that guy. He doesn't need to be there anymore because I've actually got the claim at this point. He's just kind of standing around doing nothing. So let's raise, let's declare war and then raise my armies. So I actually have a valid reason for declaring war. So I've got de jure claims on, actually I've got de jure claims on all of these. I didn't need to, yeah, we'll just use the claim that I actually, you know, worked for. I can use the rest of the claims later potentially. So we'll claim Sudrea or Sorea, as I keep saying Sudrea, but that's not what it is now. Raise my own troops and let's get them in Moray and start sieging the Western Isles. And hopefully I can get there before the. We'll just send both those armies in. Oh, okay, never mind. They actually changed course and went for my 300-man army. That can be a difficulty when raising troops, is you'll end up with your army split into little pieces. And oh, it's that guy's army I've attacked because he's we're at war with the same person, so we're basically hostile towards each other. That means your armies can fight even if you aren't necessarily directly at war. So it's yeah, you have to watch out for that. You can be attacking somebody even if you're not at war with them, if you're hostile towards them. Now, am I winning this fight? I hope so. I haven't raised any vassal levies yet, so it all might work out in my favour. Norway isn't in the fight, so that's good for me. But my army is actually getting its butt whooped right now, so let's raise vassal levies as well. Which is gonna be tricky getting them all in one place. Well, let's try and do that. Right, this battle does seem like it's kind of all lost. Yeah. So let's march those 35 men in there as well, might as well. Now my armies are split at the moment, that's not ideal. But hopefully I can get them consolidated. That army is just kind of sitting there for the time being. Apparently, why is there a Norwegian army sitting there? I don't think it's doing anything, I think it just happens to be sitting there. Well, those guys should all be marching into Gowrie. And the other guys... now, because he's retreating, I can't control where he's retreating to. So I might actually lose that army entirely. Which is not ideal. We forget the rest all consolidated. They might actually win that fight though. Let's march those 35 men. Sometimes even 35 men can make a difference in a fight, weirdly enough. So that's all of my armies together now. I'm probably making... oh, actually I'm not making a loss at all. I think it depends on your Crown Authority laws. Minimum Crown Authority laws, I suspect your vassals pay for any troops you raise from them. Although, if you have them raised for too long, it starts to hurt your... they start to get a negative opinion of you. Oh, that's annoying. They couldn't walk out in time. But at the higher Crown Authority laws, presumably you pay for the troops. I should probably know the various mechanics like this, but I actually don't. So the 30 men actually managed to beat off the 100 plus or whatever it was men. Yeah, there we go. That army's caught up with that one. I should actually win this fight fairly comfortably. I've got quite a good numerical superiority there. So the way fighting works is actually... There's actually a lot of kind of like dice rolls and stuff that go on, but it's not really... There's nothing you're directly in control of. The only thing you can do that really influences battles is the army leaders have a big impact on how a battle goes. Basically their martial ability. So, yeah, although my king doesn't have that good a martial ability, but he's still in command. That's a thing that's automatically, if you have a male ruler and you raise an army, they can end up in command. But it isn't necessarily going to be what you want. So they're busy, their armies are busy down there, so I can actually take their county out from under them. Those filthy West Coasters, yeah. I'm role-playing, you guys. I'm role-playing. I'm a filthy East Coaster, so yeah. Now they've retreated there. I don't know why, but because their morale is so low, even though they had superior numbers-ish, they've actually lost. So that's why morale is quite important in this when it comes to fighting battles. So we'll just march that army in there, start sieging, and yeah, that'll be that. So I'll fast forward a bit here because it's more sieging. It's not that interesting. Okay, some slight developments. Wales has joined in on the act, or part of Wales anyway. I successfully sieged the Western Isles, but because that Welsh army marched up, they've had a significant bump in the numbers of troops that they've got available. So I've actually had to hire some mercenaries, which is going to cost me some money. Hopefully it will be enough to swing it in my favour, though. Now, if we can march them there in time, that is, because... this is a bit of a pitched fight. I'm outnumbered by 1,000, but the fact is that they're attacking me. That means I have some defensive bonuses because of the county that I'm in. So that helps. That might mean I can hold on long enough for my mercenaries to get there. They've got really low morale, which isn't particularly good, but the numbers might help. Now you can see there the numbers slowly going down on each side, and it works. I've actually lost one of my flanks, has surrendered. Because you've got these three flanks, they'll actually if you lose a flank, that's actually quite bad. So even if you have actually more men than that left, that's the kind of the number that are left in the fight, as it were. So I'm actually losing this fight now quite badly. My troops can't get there fast enough, so let's cancel that movement order. And I lost a fair few troops there. Yeah, in fact I would say that was most of my troops. So I might even have to hire more mercenaries at this point if I'm to be in with any chance of winning this war. It's quite expensive because there's a big upfront cost, and then you actually have to pay for the maintenance of the mercenaries. So we basically have to wait for these guys to... now, are they attacking? No, they're marching on Moray, that's fine. You have to wait for these guys to get sufficient morale to actually go back on the offensive. So it's a good thing I had all this cash saved up. So I'm starting to lose money there. So you don't want to have mercenaries hired for too long, because that tends to have a negative effect. So there's actually... They've managed to siege one of my provinces. I'm still on positive war score, though, because I've got the home province basically. He actually did beat that guy. I think I point that out. So that guy's imprisoned at the moment. So we'll just consolidate those armies. Now I did inflict some losses on them, but as you can see, the bulk of their forces are actually the Welsh forces, and that's kind of annoying that they were able to bring the Welsh into the fight. So just a matter of waiting at this point. We'll move them down into 5 As we can see, there's actually some disease going on, so we want to actually keep my army out of that province, because disease can actually affect your army numbers as well. You don't want all your men to get typhoid fever. It's a bit nasty. You can actually end up with, I mean, this is, you know, early Middle Ages. Disease is somewhat rife, and it will spread, so you can end up with the whole country looking like that. It's not very pleasant. It can also affect your I don't know if it actually affects population, but I mean, it can affect your court. You can end up with court members dying of a disease if it becomes particularly epidemic. So I'll actually just have a quick look there. Now you see there, the number I've got, 3,000, is not actually the maximum number. That's it's slowly reinforcing, and we can actually just check. Their numbers are probably slowly reinforcing as well, but maybe not as... Actually, they might not be reinforcing at all because they're on hostile territory. I can't remember how it works exactly. But if I wait a little longer, I can afford to wait a little bit longer. I've still got positive war score in this one. Because I control the war goal, which is this province here, that actually gives me a positive war score. You can see there at the very bottom, plus 7.5%, and that'll continue to tick up the longer I hold the province. So that gives me a bit of breathing room, the fact that I do actually control the war goal. That works out quite nicely in my favour. So we'll skip forward a bit here. This is going to be a way more edited video than I thought it was going to be. Well, actually, no, I did think it was going to be quite edited, but there's been a lot of skipping and jumping. But if I showed the whole thing in its entirety, there'd be a lot of quite boring bits in between where really nothing's happening. Ooh! Well... You see, the thing is, you don't really want the chaste trait, because I don't have any heirs. But, yeah, if my wife finds out... Ooh, okay, let's go for it. I've got the lustful trait now, apparently. But actually, that helps fertility, but it hurts my piety. So it's kind of like, it's one of these, air quotes, negative traits that actually might be quite useful. A famous writer proposes to compose your family chronicles. Give him patronage... I think we'll just go with, humble. Humble is useful. See, that's completely... I'm humble, but I'm also lustful. They're basically... that can happen with this game. It's basically RNGesus, but you can end up with events that end up cancelling each other out. So I'm actually still... I'm come out on top in terms of piety, because I've got humble. It's actually... you know, I'm not getting as much as I would do if I didn't have the lustful trait, but I'm still doing pretty well out of that. That was quite good. Okay, so we are skipping ahead now. I'm just going to reinforce this army, and then we're going back on the offensive. Okay, we're up to 3,500 troops. I'm actually seriously starting to run out of money now. It's minus 10 gold a month, so now is the time. That's more the constraining factor than anything else to tackle this army head on. And I've got more than 1,000 manpower advantage. I'll actually... Oh no, I can't change the... because it's mainly comprised of bands of mercenaries. I actually can't change the generals, you know, the leaders around, but it doesn't actually matter that much because they are generally quite competent military rulers, or military leaders rather. So there we go, we're beating these guys fairly easily. That flank is about to collapse. Oh, that's interesting. Currently in the melee phase. There we go. That's one flank out of the action. So we now outnumber them 2-1. And at this stage, it's actually quite easy to, once you've taken out the weakest flank, because you can, you know, two flanks will concentrate on another flank. So though they are both, we've won this fight. Those flanks just collapsed totally. Now, you can lift a siege considerably quicker at the cost of manpower. Now, because we are starting to run out of cash slightly, we'll actually do this because most of these troops are mercenary troops. So, and because that's been recently conquered, it doesn't have that many defenders. The longer you hold a conquered province, the you know, that's now up to a full garrison of my troops on each of those holdings, but because this one's recently conquered, it's got not that many. It's not anything like the full number. So we're just gonna knock those guys out. My war score's racking up now. I might need 100% war score in order to... yeah, he won't yet. Oh, I've lost my Chancellor. Bit unfortunate. He's quite an important one, so we'll get him replaced post-haste. Now, if you could find somebody who's got the ambition of become Chancellor, and they've got a decent score, if they fulfill that ambition, it will actually bump up one. So it's always useful when you're selecting a new council member to see if, not just who's got the best score, but there might be someone with one less who's got the ambition to become whatever, in which case they will think better of you. And also, oh, he's going to offer peace. He's going to offer terms. Yep, I will take it. There we go. I got the county. Now we can dismiss all those troops. And the Western Isles is now mine! Hooray! I should move my... I am actually severely tempted to make that the capital. Shall I do it? I'll do it, you guys. Make a capital. Because Western Isles OP. That's now 4 holdings I've got, which is quite nice. I can hold up to 6. Now, my next, my heir, if I ever produce another heir, might not be able to. I've also got de jure claims on the rest of these, so at the moment we're basically, I think we have a truce, so if I declare war again, before the truce is over, that has a severe negative impact on my diplomacy. But we'll basically clear up those guys, consolidate power in Scotland, and then we're probably going to have to start looking south at that point. I still have eyes on Ireland. I'm still... that's a good way to increase my power base, is to take over some of those Irish counties. Although, it's always a risk expanding, because... I mean, I have to expand in order to counter the threat that England poses, but the more I expand into Ireland, it could make it a lot harder to control, so there's the more risk of civil wars, for instance. So it's always that kind of counterbalance. You want to expand in order to protect yourself and make yourself easier to defend, and make yourself less desirable to attack by your neighbours, but it comes at a cost, because the bigger the kingdom is, the more difficult it is to manage. But if I was able to get the whole of Ireland and actually create the Crown of Ireland and hold 2 kingdom titles, that would be quite nice, actually. So that might be an ultimate goal as well. So we'll wrap up this episode here. Hopefully this has been somewhat interesting. It's actually, it is like I said, it's a pity I wasn't able to continue on with my Aztec King, but maybe that was a little bit too far out. This is a slightly more straight-faced game I'm playing this time round, and it's going alright so far, all things considered. So if you liked the video, you can hit the like button, you can leave a comment below, you can subscribe to my channel, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.